Hello. I am the Master. I'm here to bring about the new world. I am from humble beginnings, but in the end, I will be the king. I am the Master. I am the Master that will change the world with my ideas, with my mind. The kings of tomorrow will not be warlords as they were in the past, but the philosopher kings that Plato talked about. I am that philosopher king. My idea for reciprocism will change the economic world as we know it. It involves voluntarily becoming a citizen of a world government, a planetary organism, rather. World government would come from the top down through the World Economic Forum and the IMF and the Bank of International Settlements and so forth. Basically, the juice will create a world government. What we want to do is create a planetary organism, one where there will be no war or conflict, one where there will not be this draconian attempt to censor truth and to honestly devalue life to such a degree that we can become mere robot slaves for the world elite. I don't want to see that, and neither do you. Let's be real. So the solution is an economic order in which there is no money as such. Your act of participating in the project of civilization acts as the first half of the exchange process. We don't need certification. Your citizenship is the certification. And that is what gives you empowerment. Because when you are a contributing member of society in this system, you would be given as a right food, clothing, shelter, transportation, information, as in education and medical care. These are rights afforded to you for being a contributing member of society. That in and of itself is the key to the new Renaissance. However, that wouldn't be enough. It's not enough. Because in order for us to actually adjust to such an economic order, we would have to have a new education system that actually educates people instead of entraining them and indoctrinating them and programming them to accept an economic system that doesn't make fucking sense. An economic system that is enslaving our children to debt, to usury. We have to break out of that system if we're going to have a future as a species. And so the way, and profit motive as well. Profit motive has to go away. It has to end. It has to be inverted, if anything, to where you're contributing to society, or the economic, the environmental impact of what you do is taken into consideration. Environmental and human impact has to be taken into consideration. And we will eventually have a situation where all of the needs are met. All of the needs are met, just basic for human activity at all. We don't need certification if we've already been contributing members of society. We also need an education system that's going to address all of these issues. And so I've developed that as well. So I've created an education model that just goes back, really. I mean, I didn't create the trivium and quadrivium, but I did create the pentivium, the univium, and the bivium. So the univium and bivium groom the children to be entered into the trivium and quadrivium. Grooming means just preparing, okay? We're preparing them to go into grammar, logic, rhetoric, math, geometry, music, astronomy. So the way you groom them for that is that you create an environment where these things are just around and stimulate their brain in general so that they're more intelligent, so that they can handle the information without being ADHD, without having all of these other chronic issues. Also, I mean, obviously fix our fucking food system, right? We should be eating primarily food instead of the industrial products that have been fed to us for the past, since the 50s, 60s. Ever since the Schnazis came over into America through Project Paperclip and started basically taking over this country, That's right, folks. We've been living under the Nazis didn't lose World War II, in point of fact. Okay, they're running the show currently. That's who's running the show. Hope you understand that. But anyway, we have to have a new education system. The Ivium education system, the way education system essentially, is what I'm advocating for, is what I've created. And so it goes beyond just the classical liberal arts. And we also have to obviously train. By the time they reach high school, we should be teaching our students, our future citizens, how to fix a fucking vehicle if that's necessary, or grow food and build a house, the practical life skills, how to weld. These things, while we do kind of do that, if you want to, as far as like, we have skill building currently, but it's not at the level that I'm talking about. Everybody should be able to have one skill, at least plumbing, whatever, that allows them to be functional within the tapestry of interdependence in society. We shouldn't just be having experts and this and that. Everybody should be well-rounded. The idea of expertise in that specific regard. Now, obviously, if you want to be an expert in microbiology or some other specific, have that, but also be able to do plumbing, also be able to do carpentry or something, some kind of skill. Doesn't make any sense if the grid collapses, if there's a solar flare that ends up taking out the entire grid. What are you gonna do? Be a psychologist at that point? I don't think so. We're not preparing people for real life. We're preparing people for an economy that's completely fictitious, that's completely bubble oriented. And so the reality is that's what we have to do, okay? And that's what I'm advocating for. And then the third aspect of it is we need a democracy. We need to take the power out of the hands of the lobbyists through these representatives, because clearly the representatives are corrupt as it gets. They're to the bone corrupt and need to be exited out of any kind of capacity for government whatsoever. There's no more quibbling about this. We need to have a revolution, and we needed it yesterday, if not 10, 20, 30 years ago. But we're too chicken shit because we don't have anything to actually get behind. Well, that is over. I have the thing that we can get behind. And so it comes down to me having to do everything. I'm going to have to do everything. But rest assured, I will do everything if I have to, which I will do, because I recognize that it's not going to be done by any of you, obviously. But rest assured, it will happen. This will be happening by 2027. That's my deadline. By 2027, this will start getting enacted. I have a passport. I'm going to end up traveling to Geneva, Switzerland, and talking to these fucking World Economic Forum people. Because, quite frankly, the people in the United States don't even fucking matter. The United States government is not its own government. It's a government at the behest of the World Economic Forum, at the behest of the Rothschilds, at the behest of the Vatican, at the behest of the empire that is hidden behind these facades. Love and appreciation. We are oneself. Peace.